So part of being a leader means that you get to lead your team into battle, but also the breakdowns, they fall on you. Okay, if anything breaks down, it's on you. And when you get to the point we want you to get at, where you're overseeing a team and you're not so much working in the ministry, but you're more working on the ministry, if something breaks down and it's on your watch, then you're gonna be the one to take the blunt or the brunt of the negative. Okay, for example, let's say I'm leading a media team that consists of the sound guy, the streaming girl, the engagement chat monitor, and of course the lyric computer. Let's say I'm running a team of 4, and then I'm in the back kind of directing everything. Okay, audio up, mic mute, camera 2 switch, color balance camera 1, get that question in the stream, Jessica, something like that. Now, if the audio mic, say, doesn't mute, and the pastor's singing and the pastor can't sing, and it sounds really bad coming through the monitors, and then the sound guy's like, oh no, the pastor's mic isn't muted, mute, and now everything sounds good, but somehow pastor's voice is still coming out loud and clear through the live stream, and no one notices till afterwards. Okay, it wasn't really anyone's fault. Maybe it was the audio guy's fault for muting post send, but not post fade, but not pre fade, and somehow it got to the stream. It's the stream computer's fault, stream operator's fault for not monitoring the stream output or watching the stream themselves. It's even the pastor's fault because he didn't mute his mic. Maybe he was supposed to mute his mic. The point is that someone had a bad experience during the live stream, and since you oversee the media ministry, that mistake falls on you. Now, that doesn't mean that it's the end of the world, and it doesn't mean that, you're fired, okay? But it does mean that it's on you to accept the responsibility. I should have been more watching it. I should have been training about that. I should have also, been monitoring myself possibly. But accepting responsibility doesn't mean that you have to diagnose exactly what you did wrong. It does mean that you have to prognose what to do to fix it. So, for example, you might remind the live stream operator that they need to be monitoring the output or monitoring the live stream themselves. You need to remind the pastor, don't forget to hit your mute button. You may need to remind the audio engineer to be monitoring their own output. And then make sure that when they mute the monitors, make sure it mutes the signal to the live stream computer. Anyways, all that to say, the breakdowns fall on you. You're just going to have to accept it. You're going to have to develop a little bit of a thick skin and know that the breakdowns are your responsibility. You're going to have to accept them. Okay. If you're a CTA insider, we can absolutely talk you through this in the group or in our masterminds. If you have a certain thing break down and you just don't know how to move forward, or you're having trouble personally accepting the responsibility, we hear you. We'll help you work through that. Okay. Number 2 is you're going to have to learn that people look up to you for communication and expectations. Okay. When you're leading a ministry, let's say that I got 3 sound operators. I cannot just sit there and say, Travis, Scott, and Dale, you guys figure out your schedule. Someone has to work 2 Sundays. Everyone else gets to work 1 Sunday. Make sure the following month that person only works 1 Sunday, while a different one works 2 Sundays. I could say, figure it out yourselves. But if there ever is a miscommunication and I don't have a backup plan, I don't provide them a system to schedule, I don't provide a calendar that I oversee, I don't check in on Saturday evening to make sure that they're healthy and ready to go on Sunday. If I don't have any of that down, then there's going to be a breakdown where either no one shows up on Sunday to run practice, or 2 people are going to show up on Sunday to run practice. And that frankly annoys people. So it's up to you for communications and expectations. Me personally, if this team was small enough, I would say let's meet real quick after service on the last Sunday of the month, and let's talk about the following Sundays. I would tell my team, I expect if you're going to be out of town on vacation, let me know as soon as you know. Even if you find out midnight, please let me know then, so I have as much time as I need to correct that. And then also the expectations. Okay, possibly, again, if I was at a larger church and I had more of a production, I would expect that if you're going to take vacation, I would expect that you tell me 2 weeks in advance, 4 weeks in advance. Okay, I would expect that you would call me and not just not show up, not just be a no-show. Okay, maybe I have an expectation. If you are a no-show because you slept in, or you just forgot, or you had a family emergency and didn't tell me then that's, it's kind of like work. You have a no-show, you're fired. Well, you have a no-show, that's strike one. Next time it happens, you need to find someone else to volunteer. It's up to you for those communications and expectations. We'll talk a little bit about that in systems and processes, but it's up for you to set that standard, to set that tone. You can't expect everything just to fall in place. You have to step up, because number 3, the future comes from you. You're the vision caster. Okay. You're the one who said, I have a dream that this media ministry is going to take off. We're going to reach so many people. We're going to pour into other pastors to get their message out to more people. And we need 3 people to work this. Okay. I want to have this operator. I want to have this equipment. I want to have this technique. I want to have this standard. All of that comes from you. All right. You have to set the tone, but you also have to cast the future of where that tone takes you. If you have a camera operator, tell them, we want to have you run the camera. And eventually we'd love for you to run, when we get 2 cameras, we'd like you to run the switcher too. And maybe we got PTZ stuff. We start looking at that stuff. Tell me what you're comfortable with. Have you ever worked with something like that before? And if not, we'll train you. Are you open to be trained? Because we have a future here. We have a plan. It may take a few years, but we want to plan that out. The future comes from you. There was a great quote. I'm going to pull it up here because I actually posted it on my Facebook page. And it had to do with goal setting and vision casting. The quote says this: without a vision for the future, you end up creating goals that aren't aligned with where you want to be. Dennis DeMoria, a marketer that I follow, said that without a vision for the future, you end up creating goals that aren't aligned with where you want to be. So it's your job as the leader to cast that vision of the future, to set those goals of where you want to be. Again, everything falls to you. And then lastly, at least for this, being a leader, you have to be there when people want to quit. Oftentimes, the desire to quit, the desire to give up is just a temporary desire, especially when we get into the ministry and we're dealing with what more can be a calling. There's not a single pastor on this planet, I believe, that will say they've never had the temptation to quit. I just don't believe that. Every pastor I know, myself and Dave included, as directors, we all have days where we want to quit. We want to throw in the towel. How much easier would this be? How much easier would it be instead of recording this? I'm recording this at 4:30 in the afternoon, in the middle of a 30-minute break that I have between picking up my daughter and taking her to dance. How much easier would it be just to go work in IT and get a check for sitting and watching YouTube videos for half the day and answering phones for the other half? That'd be a lot easier. I'd actually probably make more money. But this is a calling. I am called to teach you. How much easier would it be to sleep in on Sunday mornings and just go to church? How much easier would it be to not show up at 8 a.m., 7 a.m. in the morning, to turn on all the sound equipment, check everything, run everything, deal with these snotty musicians? Man, I'm just kidding. Deal with the gremlins in the tech system. How much easier would it be to not have to go to rehearsal on a Wednesday and be at the church till 8:30 in the evening when you got to drive 30 minutes back home? That was me for almost a decade when I lived 2 towns over from the church that I was serving in. How much easier would it be? But I took the hard way because that was my calling. And there were multiple times when I was like, I want to quit. I want to give up. That church looks better. That job looks better. That bed looks better. My home looks better. People want to quit. And so when you put yourself in a position to be a leader of people in your media ministry, you're going to have days where they say, I don't think I'm cut out for this. I don't think I'm good enough. I don't think I'm qualified enough. I don't think I have the potential. This is too rough. I'm too tired. I quit. And the most frustrating thing about it is this will probably come to you as a text or an email. And you're like, you can't even call me to tell me that you don't want to do this anymore. But guess what? When you get that information, when you get that message, being a leader means you have to be there when people want to quit. You cannot, well, you can, but you should not just say, oh man, okay, well, thanks for being there. It was nice to have you for a little while. God bless. No, your job as a leader is to say, let's talk about this. Where is this coming from? Why didn't you tell me about this sooner? What are you feeling? Why didn't you tell me about how you were feeling last time? What is, and when you get to the core of the issue, you start to see, well, maybe it's not an issue of they're not cut out for it. Maybe it's an issue of they don't have that much time. Their schedule changed. Maybe they're starting school. Maybe they're getting out of school. Maybe they found out they're pregnant and they just haven't told you yet. There's a lot of things that can happen, and you as a leader have to be there when people want to quit. So, first rule of leading a volunteer ministry, you are the leader. Breakdowns fall on you. People look up to you for communication and expectations. The future comes from you, and you have to be there when people want to quit. As always, if you have any questions about anything specific in here, if you're a CTA insider, you can ask these questions in the group, and we can talk more about that in the group or in the mastermind. Okay. If you just purchased the course outright, I encourage you, write these notes down. Bring them to your pastor. If you have any questions about any of them, bring them to a pastor or a trusted leader, deacon, elder, whoever, and say, I just don't know if I'm cut out for this. Can you help me? And again, they might take you under their wing and give you some leadership information. There may also be some leadership books. Maybe I should put together some leadership books as part of the curriculum, some recommendations. But remember, you are the leader here. And I know some of this may sound like doom and gloom, like, oh boy, I don't know if I can do this. You can. There's a reason why you're on this course. There's a reason why you're watching this. It's because God's calling you to be a leader of a ministry of people, to reach more people. I'm not cut out to go door knocking and hand out tracts and stuff and preach from the corner. I am cut out to support ministries and ministers and pastors and leaders who do that. I support them with my gift of, learning quickly. And honestly, it's a gift of administration on my end. But, this is what it means to be a leader. And I had to learn each one of these the hard way. And I want you to be prepared for when they come. All right. Next, we're going to talk about how you're responsible for more than training, kind of building again on what we talked about here. Being a leader means you have to do more than just get them in, train them up, and let them go. There's a few more things that it takes to it. And again, you've got to have that foundation. You got to know what you're getting into. And let me tell you, once you wrap your mind around this, it's really not that hard. It sounds hard, but it's not. So let's talk about what you do above and beyond just training. Next video.